There was a woman named Samira who lived in a world that moved too fast, where notifications pinged constantly, where everyone seemed connected yet deeply alone, where the word love was used carelessly for everything from coffee to shoes but rarely understood in its truest form. Samira was 31 years old, worked as a nurse at a busy city hospital, and had built walls around her heart so high that she sometimes wondered if she was even capable of feeling anymore. She had been hurt before, deeply and repeatedly. A broken engagement 5 years ago when the man she thought she would marry left her for someone else. Friendships that faded when she was no longer useful. Family members who only called when they needed something. Each disappointment had added another brick to the walls around her heart until she became someone who smiled professionally at work but went home to an empty apartment and cried into her pillow, wondering why she felt so utterly unloved. Samira had stopped believing in love entirely. She had decided that love was just a beautiful lie that people told themselves, a temporary chemical reaction in the brain that eventually faded, leaving nothing but disappointment and pain. She focused on her work, caring for sick patients with dedication and compassion, but her own heart remained cold and protected, unwilling to risk being hurt again. It was a Monday evening when something strange happened. Samira was finishing her shift at the hospital, exhausted after 12 hours of caring for critically ill patients. As she was gathering her things from her locker, she found a small envelope that hadn't been there when she arrived that morning. Her name was written on it in elegant handwriting she didn't recognize. Inside was a simple card with a message that made her hands tremble. This person has fallen in love with you. Open your heart before this Tuesday night, or you may never discover the greatest love story of your life. Samira looked around the locker room, but it was empty. She checked with the security desk, but no one had seen anyone enter the staff area who didn't belong there. The message was mysterious, almost unsettling, yet something about it made her heart beat faster with a feeling she couldn't quite name. That night, alone in her apartment, Samira kept reading the message over and over. Who could have written it? She had no one in her life who would do something like this. No romantic interests, no secret admirers that she knew of. The whole thing seemed impossible. Yet the card was real in her hands, the words staring back at her. She tried to dismiss it as a prank, but sleep wouldn't come. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about love, about the walls she had built, about the emptiness that had become so familiar she barely noticed it anymore. Tuesday night was tomorrow. What was supposed to happen then? What was she supposed to open? The next morning, Tuesday, Samira went to work feeling oddly anxious. She kept thinking about the message, wondering if someone would reveal themselves, if something would happen to explain this mystery. But the day passed like any other patients to care for, medications to administer, families to comfort, the endless routine of hospital life. As her shift was ending that Tuesday evening, one of her elderly patients, a woman named Haja Khadija, who had been in the hospital for several weeks recovering from heart surgery, called out to her as she passed the room. "Nurse Samira, do you have a moment? I know you're about to finish, but I would like to speak with you about something important." Samira entered the room, concerned. "Is everything all right? Are you in pain?" Haja Khadija smiled gently and patted the chair beside her bed. "No pain, child. Please sit. I've been watching you for weeks now and I need to tell you something." Samira sat down, curious and slightly uneasy. The elderly woman looked at her with eyes that seemed to see straight into her soul. "You are one of the kindest nurses here. You care for everyone with such dedication. But I see something else in your eyes, a deep sadness, a loneliness that you try to hide behind your professional smile. Am I wrong?" Samira felt tears spring to her eyes unexpectedly. She wasn't used to being seen this clearly. I don't know what you mean. Yes, you do, Haja Khadija said gently. You've been hurt, and you've closed your heart. You've decided that love isn't real or isn't worth the risk. But I need to tell you something very important, and I pray you'll listen with an open heart. Samira nodded, unable to speak. There is someone who has fallen deeply, completely, unconditionally in love with you, Haja Khadija continued. This person's love for you began before you were born and will continue after you die. This person knows everything about you, every scar, every mistake, every fear, every secret shame, and loves you anyway. This person has been patient with you, waiting for you to notice, sending you signs and blessings every single day, hoping you'll finally see. Samira's breath caught in her throat as understanding began to dawn. You're talking about God, she whispered. Haja Khadija smiled with tears in her own eyes. Yes, my dear child, God Al-Wadud, the most loving, He has fallen in love with you, though we don't describe His love in the same way we describe human love. His love is perfect, constant, eternal. And He has been calling you, waiting for you to open your heart to Him. But I pray, Samira protested weakly. I fast during Ramadan. I'm not a bad person. No one said you're bad, child. But there's a difference between going through the motions of worship and truly opening your heart to a relationship with God. You stand in prayer, but do you really talk to Him? You recite Quran, but do you listen to what He's saying to you? You fast, but do you understand it as a way to draw closer to the one who created you? Samira felt something breaking inside her chest, like a crack forming in the walls she had built. I don't know how. I've been hurt so many times. How do I trust anyone, even God? Haja Khadija took Samira's hand in her frail, weathered one. That's exactly why you need to start with God. Human beings are imperfect. They will fail you, disappoint you, hurt you sometimes, even when they don't mean to. But God never fails. He never lies. He never abandons. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught us that God says in a sacred hadith, I am as my servant expects me to be, and I am with him when he remembers me. She continued, if you expect God to be harsh and distant, that's how you'll experience him. But if you open your heart and expect his mercy, his love, his care, you'll discover a relationship unlike anything humans can offer. He loves you more than 70 mothers, the Prophet told us. Can you imagine that kind of love? Samira began to cry, with years of suppressed emotion flooding out. Why would he love me? I've been angry at him for the things that happened to me. I've questioned him. I've neglected him. And still he loves you, Haja Khadija said softly. Still he keeps your heart beating, keeps blessing you, keeps the door of repentance open, keeps hoping you'll turn to him. Do you know what tonight is? Samira shook her head. Tuesday night, the night between Tuesday and Wednesday, is one of the blessed nights in Islamic tradition. Many scholars say it's a time when prayers are especially answered, when God's mercy is especially abundant. I believe that message you received, yes child, I know about the card, was God's way of calling you to open your heart to him tonight. Don't let this opportunity pass. You left the card in my locker? Samira asked in amazement. Haja Khadija smiled mysteriously. Does it matter who delivered the message? What matters is whether you'll respond to it. That night, Samira went home with her heart pounding. She performed ablution carefully, washing away not just physical impurities but symbolically washing away the years of hurt and hardness. She stood for prayer, but this time was different. This time she wasn't just going through the motions. As she recited the familiar words of the prayer, she tried to really mean them, really feel them. When she said, "You alone we worship and you alone we ask for help," she thought about how she had been trying to find help everywhere except from God. When she prostrated, putting her forehead on the ground, she felt the walls around her heart beginning to crumble. After the formal prayer ended, Samira stayed on her prayer mat and began to cry. Not polite tears, but deep, wrenching sobs that came from a place of profound loneliness and need. And for the first time in years, she spoke to God. Not with memorized prayers, but with her own words, her own pain. God, I've been so lost. I've been so hurt. I built walls to protect myself, but I realize now I've only imprisoned myself. Haja Khadija says you love me, but I don't know how to feel that. I don't know how to trust it. Please, if you really do love me, help me feel it. Help me know it. Help me open this closed heart. She cried until she had no tears left, and in the silence that followed, something extraordinary happened. She felt a warmth spreading through her chest, a sense of peace she hadn't experienced in years. It wasn't a voice or a vision, but a deep inner knowing that she wasn't alone. That she had never been alone, that every moment of her life someone had been loving her, caring for her, guiding her, even when she didn't recognize it. Samira opened her Quran, which had been sitting on her shelf gathering dust, and randomly opened to a page. Her eyes fell on a verse that made her gasp, "And your Lord has not forgotten you, nor does he hate you." It was from Surah Ad-Duha, a chapter revealed to comfort the Prophet Muhammad when he thought God had abandoned him. She read the entire chapter with translation, and each verse felt like a direct message to her. Did he not find you lost and guide you? Did he not find you in need and make you self-sufficient? So as for the orphan, do not oppress them. And as for the one who asks, do not repel them. But as for the favor of your Lord, proclaim it. Samira understood now. God had found her lost in pain and was guiding her back. He had found her in desperate need of love and was offering it to her. He was asking her not to repel those who sought help from her, just as he would never repel her when she sought help from him. And he was asking her to proclaim his favor, to recognize and be grateful for the blessings she had been blind to. She began to see her life differently. Every breath she had taken, every moment of health, every ability to help others through her work, every sunrise and sunset, every small joy she had dismissed, all of it was God loving her, caring for her, blessing her in ways she had been too blind to see. Over the following weeks and months, Samira's entire life transformed. She began waking before dawn for tahajjud prayer, that blessed time when God descends to the lowest heaven and asks, "Who is calling upon me that I may answer them? Who is asking of me that I may give them? Who is seeking my forgiveness that I may forgive them?" She would sit in the darkness before dawn and talk to God like a beloved friend, sharing everything, her fears, her hopes, her struggles, her gratitude. And slowly, the emptiness that had haunted her for years began to fill with something real and lasting. She started seeing patients differently too. Each person she cared for became an opportunity to serve God, to show the love and compassion He had shown her. When a difficult patient complained, instead of feeling frustrated, she remembered how patient God had been with her complaints. When someone was ungrateful, she remembered how often she had been ungrateful to God, yet He continued blessing her. Her colleagues noticed the change. "What happened to you?" they would ask. "You seem different, happier, more at peace." Samira would smile and say, "I discovered that I was loved all along. I just hadn't been paying attention." 6 months after that Tuesday night, Haja Khadija was finally discharged from the hospital, fully recovered. As Samira helped her prepare to leave, the elderly woman embraced her warmly. "You opened your heart," she said with satisfaction. "I can see it in your eyes. The sadness is gone, replaced with something beautiful." "You saved my life," Samira said through tears. "That message, that conversation, it changed everything." Haja Khadija shook her head. I didn't save you, child. God saved you. I was just the messenger he chose to use. Remember this feeling, this relationship you've built with him. Protect it, nurture it, and know that no matter what happens in your life, whether you marry or stay single, whether you face ease or hardship, you will never be unloved, as long as you maintain this connection with the one who created you. Years later, Samira would tell others her story. She did eventually marry to a kind man who shared her devotion to God, but that relationship was different from what she had imagined in her younger years. It wasn't about finding someone to complete her. She was already complete in her relationship with God. Instead, it was about finding someone to journey with toward God, a companion in faith and worship. On quiet nights, Samira would sometimes take out that old card that had started everything, the mysterious message that had called her to open her heart. She kept it as a reminder that the greatest love story of her life wasn't with any human being, but with the creator of the universe who had loved her since before she existed and would love her for eternity. She would share this message with anyone who would listen. Someone has fallen in love with you. Not a crush, not an admirer, not a potential partner, but God himself. The most loving, the most merciful. He's been waiting patiently for you to notice, sending you blessings and signs every day, hoping you'll finally open your heart to him. Don't wait for another special night. Don't wait for a message from a stranger. Open your heart now, tonight, this very moment. Talk to him. Pour out your pain to him. Let him love you the way only he can, perfectly, eternally, unconditionally. This is the truth that transforms lives. When it's truly understood, we spend our lives searching for love in all the wrong places, trying to fill the God-shaped void in our hearts with people, possessions, achievements, anything and everything except the one who actually can fill it. We wait for human love to complete us, when divine love has been there all along, waiting to be recognized and returned. The person who has fallen in love with you is not hiding. He's closer to you than your jugular vein. He hears every whisper, sees every tear, knows every secret hope. He has been loving you through every breath, every blessing, every moment of your existence. The question is not whether he loves you, he does. The question is whether you will finally open your heart and love him back before another precious night passes and another opportunity is missed. Open your heart before it's too late. The greatest love story of your life is waiting to begin.